The Givers has made another attempt to get South African paramedic, that is Gerco van Deventer, released. He was abducted by Al-Qaeda in Libya back in 2017 and has since been taken to Mali, where he remains as the aid organization makes a final attempt to bring him back home. For more on this, though, we're joined now by Gift of the Givers founder, Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman, for this conversation. And Doc, thank you so much for your time and good morning to you. I suppose let's start here. How has your engagement been with the Al-Qaeda group? This, of course, in your efforts to try and bring back Gerco van Deventer back home.
Good morning, Ronald. It's been much better, with the intermediaries compared to when it happened a few years ago. In 2019, that's the first time we got involved with the family's request. He was taken in Libya, Gerco was taken in Libya on the 3rd of November 2017. It was only around 2019, when the family asked us to get involved, because initially it was thought that the Turkish company that he worked for would be involved in the process. We don't get involved if somebody else is involved. We started negotiations with the intermediaries, and at that point it was flatly refused. When we said the man has no money, he works, the company that he worked for, he only worked for a short while, his family has no money. What complicated the fact were two things. One is the Turkish company paid for 3 other Turkish citizens that were taken hostage in Libya. That's the first problem. That was Libya. And the second problem is that the Al-Qaeda group bought Gerco from the group in Libya, which means they made an initial financial investment and they want the money back. So those two things complicated the process. And of course, we could make no headway because they insisted they wanted the money. And then, of course, came forward and everything came to a dead standstill until April of this year. In April of this year, we decided to do it one more time during the month of Ramadan, because in Ramadan, they tend to be more soft. They call it the month of mercy. And we thought, let's try our luck again. The good news is they never told us no. Normally, when you make a request for unconditional release, you've got no ransom to pay. Within 72 hours, they'll tell you get lost. Nothing like that happened. We sent a video from the wife, from the son, from the MJC, the Muslim Judicial Council. There was a placard demonstration in Pelican Park outside the mosque at prayer time, at fast breaking time. And within 48 hours, when we sent the stuff to them, they acknowledged it. They said, we've seen it, we're contemplating it. They didn't say no.
Yeah.
And then came the month of Hajj, which is now, and we met, my negotiator went up twice to Mali in the last 2 months. He was there for 4 to 5 weeks at a time. He's spoken to all the negotiators, the intermediaries, everybody on the ground, the tribal leaders, elders, everyone. The inside information we have, and that's not guaranteed, but they say that there is a willingness within the group to release him unconditionally. Again, it's more than 2 months and they haven't told us no. So we are hopeful that, because it's 2 months and they haven't told us no, it's just a possibility. And in addition to that, we've already spoken to Mali State Security. They've told us we'll give you all the assistance if it works out. They've asked us to call our state security to contact them, which our state security has done. We put in a letter of request to say, give all the assistance possible and that the government will intervene at the right time to bring him home. So in terms of all the steps, everything has been done. We just need them to say yes or no.
With that being said, Doc, because I sense that you sense there's a bit of hope. They haven't said no yet. Why has, Gift of the Givers as an organization still, though, decided that this would be a final attempt? Because these are the reports coming in. Why do you think this should be a final attempt if you almost get a sense that there might be some hope to keep trying? Yes,
the issue is because we have nothing new to offer. What we offered in 2019 is the same thing we're offering in 2023, that there's no ransom. The difference is that it's 5 years and 8 months that is in captivity now. And by that time, they normally understand that if people had money, they would have paid the money a long time ago. To be blunt, if we had the money, I could take him out in 7 days. It's as simple as that. If you have the money, you have him out in 7 days. We brought the ransom money down from $3 million to $500,000. But of course, there's nobody to pay. It's just the wife and the child, the 5 family. There's no company, no government's going to pay. So we made it clear. And in this kind of situation, when you don't have money, the biggest factor in your favor is the time that lapses. 5 years, 8 months makes Gerco van Deventer the longest hostage in captivity by any group in the world.
Yeah.
He's now the longest standing South African in captivity. It's 5 years and 8 months. So at some point, and of course, what also carries a lot of weight is the good word that comes from the intermediaries, to stand for you, the elders, the community people, the community leaders. And of course, it's not been just asking them. Over a period of time, since we worked on the McGowan case, we drilled balls for them. We've given them food feeding during the month of Ramadan, meat animal sacrifice during the days of Hajj. We've done it again. Last week, 120 people attacked a village in Gao and just faced 600 families. We intervened and we supported those families. So we try to just build some leverage and some goodwill in the poor communities with the hope that they can put a message strongly to say, look, these guys have helped us. We should, in this case, forget what you've paid to Libya, let the men go.
Absolutely. If I could just ask this, question to you, Doc, before I let you go, and it comes in two folds. On one hand, should they refuse this final attempt to release Gerco, what is at stake here? What is at stake in terms of his life and time still in Mali? But on the other hand as well, my question is, should they agree to release him, then what happens next?
Okay, the first part is it's more in their hands because we made it clear from when you deal with Al-Qaeda, you need a long time for this interview. There's lots of background stuff. But when you deal with Al-Qaeda, you have to be consistent with your messaging. We have been consistent with our messaging from 2019 that there's no money. And the government will not get involved. They've seen that. They've seen there's no money, and they've seen the government is not getting involved. They've understood that clearly. From their point of view, they don't like to keep a hostage forever because it's a real nightmare for them if a hostage dies in their captivity. It's very bad business for them. So they do everything possible to keep the hostage alive. They have to buy stuff. They have to move them around from place to place. They give them food. They give them clothes. They give them whatever. And it's not that expensive, but it costs money. But it's more important that nothing happens to the hostage in the process. So we actually put the ball in their court. Look, we haven't got the money. It's your choice to keep him, and you're going to keep him till the day he dies, or cut your losses on this one and set him free. That's the message we send them directly. On the other point that you asked, Al-Qaeda always insists that governments get involved for the same reason. They don't want to lose a hostage when he's released or she's released by them. So they have a relationship. Al-Qaeda sends a message to the intermediaries. The intermediaries sends a message to Mali state security. Mali state security sends a message to our state security. Our state security goes up, and Mali security gets the hostage from wherever the Al-Qaeda leaves him at some point and say, wait for him at some point, collect him from there, give him safe escort, bring him to your government, and your government, the government of the country that is taken from, in our case, South Africa, and they make the passport documents, and they bring him back home.
Well, of course, we're hoping for the best for Gerco van Deventer and also for you as an organization as you try to hopefully get him back home. And thank you so much for this conversation.